My guest today on the Neil Wilkins podcast is Merag Shahzad. Now, Merag is a very interesting marketer because he talks a lot about cooking marketing strategies like Michelin-star restaurants. And that is a big, bold claim. Mirage is very much into bold marketing. So, who better to talk to us today about some marketing predictions for 2025? Now, I know a lot of you are doing marketing planning, you're building your strategies for the coming years. So, this is going to be a very timely conversation. Welcome to the show, Mirage.
Thanks for having me, Neil. It's a pleasure.
Great stuff. And this is such a great time. You know, we're recording this as we come to the end of 2024 with a view to look forward into 2025. I mean, there is so much happening in marketing right now, isn't there?
It's happening a lot, and I love it because now it's the time to be a little boy again with all the curiosity, hands on, try and error, and find the right setup and strategy for your brand. There's nothing that is 100% working for everyone like it used to in the last 10 years. Performance marketing was something that worked nearly in every industry. Last thing that worked nearly in every industry was TikTok during the pandemic. And after 1 year after it, everyone who jumped on it was pretty much successful if he was consistent. But right now, there is no formula, and at least no general formula. Everything needs to be created for you. And I prefer it that way because then it's not only temporary or performance based, but rather brand based as well. So it creates your DNA and builds a community that is pretty unique.
That's what I love about this, and I'm so pleased, Mirage, that you started with that word brand because I've been doing this stuff for a long, long time, and I just find that, and as you say, over the last decade, I think we've become very tactical. We've been very almost forced, I guess, by sales colleagues, by the chief executive, or whoever it is, to kind of hit this numbers revenue, to be looking at tactical, short-term stuff. But as soon as you say the word brand, that puts the horizon out a long, long way, doesn't it? That's what really gets me excited. Are you kind of feeling the same?
100%. And these are also the right terms, and I love it. On LinkedIn and YouTube, I see that people are now trying to explain things more narrowly, like the difference between tactics and strategy. Well, in the last 10 years, we were only operating in the tactics sphere, like really nuanced decisions when influencer marketing was big with the high peak of Instagram. People were only like, who has the most number of followers, what are the interaction rate. That's it. That was pure Excel sheet kind of work. And that's why we had brands performing very well, but not building up real brands or real communities. Like, who remembers all those fitness tea brands that appeared approximately 9 years ago and all disappeared because it was pure performance? It was not marketing in the sense of building a brand.
So we're kind of redefining it, aren't we? Just the way you've described that there is it becomes less about the tactical, less about the kind of just those little projects and campaigns, and much more about the science really behind it, because we're building something much more holistic. I know you use the word in a lot of your work, this word holistic, and it just feels it's so much more robust. There are real foundations to it. This is just a great time and a great opportunity, I think, for those of us who are passionate about brand and building this long-term story. We can really start to own this space now, can't we?
Exactly. Someone said we are in the new area of, or new age of the neo Renaissance. And now we need people who are strategically in the sphere of trial and error in whatever field you are working. Because also as an engineer, we haven't had huge advancements in any part of engineering, in the same as in marketing sphere. Most mobile phones are nearly the same thing as 10 years ago, just slightly more capacity in the sense of how fast they can calculate or how much storage. But it's basically the same thing as the iPhone 6. We don't see huge advancements. And the same as with marketing and other IT. Like, is TikTok so much different than YouTube was 10 years ago? It's slightly faster, just adapting to our nowadays culture and attention span. So really, I feel it, and I'm convinced the new era is we need to be more like mini-me's of Elon Musk, at least in that sense that we will try and figure out what's needed for humanity, what's needed in our industry, and focus on try and error, find the right thing that is matching.
What kind of things do you well, in terms of a balance then, when you talk about the trial and error, you might call it piloting, testing, whatever phrase that we use in our own businesses, what kind of balance would you say that you're seeing successful businesses doing that in? Is it kind of 80-20? Is it 90-10? I'm guessing it's still a small part of what a successful business would do because they need to take care of today at the same time, obviously, is looking to the future. Is there a perfect balance, perfect equation?
It isn't, unfortunately. Also, that needs to be defined really individually. For one larger client that is operating nine figures already revenue per year, I wanted to build in something that I usually see only in Silicon Valley companies. That is, they have market ops and market dev, separating the team that is always piloting or trial and error, and the other team is on the everyday business. And whatever worked, only if it worked, then it goes over to the market ops. And this balance needs to be shifted over and over again. For example, in Germany, still the Christmas season is a big marketing opportunity. Also, by the normal larger brands. And at that time, we had all the trial and error focus on the first 2 weeks of November. Once we found a format that was really resonating, then we went all full on together with the market ops to build 60,000 new followers on Instagram. So it was 50,000, then over to 110,000. And that was nearly all organic. And on TikTok at the same time, we created a new channel that was 250,000 followers. That was also mostly organic. Now it comes the best part, the retargeting ads, where the cost of obtaining a new client within the retargeting sphere was reduced to a third as it used to be before. We just needed to find that perfect balance of what format is really close to the brand DNA and values, but at the same time part of the TikTok, Instagram culture, because you need to respect that as well. You need to adapt to the target groups being active there. Once we found that, we really dedicated 3-4 weeks all in all to find that format before the Christmas season and the Black Friday season hit.
So you're making me really think about this, Mirage, because I guess if you're in a large organization, I love that split of, the dev team and then the operational team within marketing, almost like working collaboratively and supporting each other, but having very, very clearly defined roles. I guess in a small or even micro business, that might come down to one individual who then has to decide how they're going to spend their week, and maybe it's a Friday is the piloting and the testing and the measurement and evaluation. The rest of the week it's operations. It's kind of I'm delivering stuff. But I guess at a personal level, like you say, it's about figuring out what balance to give that, but you have to give something to it, because otherwise you are just going to produce the same that you did last year, and that's not going to work in 2025 at all, is it?
I also have smaller clients. The reason is most of my clients are only from my network. and I can't say no. And the reason is that I have a passion for marketing, and also I have positive feelings. I don't want to say I love everyone in my network, but I feel dedicated to help them. So with smaller clients, I have a new philosophy. I've built it up once I've put my ego aside, that I'm not bringing all the strategy and solutions myself. But if if my if they don't have an in-house team, or only one, two, or two, three people in-house, I tell them rather build that curiosity and that system of trying out new things in-house, because no one else will have that passion, but outsource everything that is already systematically put together, because it's easier to set KPIs to those formats, platforms, or whatsoever. And if you have highly specialized agencies, they can do it also on way smaller costs.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm feeling here then, Mirage, that you are very much somebody who, as a marketer, wants evidence. You want data, you want the numbers, you want KPIs, you want to be measuring everything. Because otherwise, we can all get very excited by, AI and all these emerging kind of opportunities, but without measuring the ones that are going to be the winners, or at least having the KPIs in place to be able to predict the winners, we're just going to end up busier and busier and busier all the time, aren't we? So is measurement a really key thing for you?
100%. It always was, but it got more important to set the right KPIs, because too many companies, unfortunately, I see them with really experienced C-level CMOs that are still having nearly only vanity points set as KPIs, rather than at least a mix performance and the vanity points. Vanity points are this only the figures like how many followers, how many likes did we get, how many views did the last reel get, but doesn't make any money. You need to put that also among your KPIs. That's so important, because marketing is not a cost center, it's a profit center, 100%. Already, because of the digital marketing era, it's not a profit center in the long term as it used to be, because it takes time, when there was no internet, to get someone from advertising regularly on TV and putting a product as a product placement in parts of TV shows, until people realized, oh, this is really a nice brand. Nowadays, if you have a perfect mix of nice reels, influencer marketing, retargeting, you can get someone to buy your product from the first touch point until they buy it within 2-3 days, many times. So it needs to be both. 100%. People need to learn it.
And I think for me, that's what makes this more of a science than an art. I think a lot of people think of marketing as, oh, it's that creative team who kind of make nice stuff that we put out, in front of our customers, which is kind of fine, okay. But actually, I think for most of us, we do need to really be pushing the science, which is the data and the numbers to back up that, so that we can be taken seriously. I've been saying this story for decades now. I mean, literally decades. And it seems now that a lot of businesses are now starting to wake up to this, that marketing can really contribute to the bottom line. It isn't just that little piece in the middle that delivers customer experience. It's an end-to-end experience from the customer's perspective that we as marketers can own, because of course that feeds back into the brand again, doesn't it?
100%. And this is the most important thing to us before we set a campaign, that we make sure that at least it's consistent from the first touch point until the after sales service also. Because if somebody bought something, why did you put the effort into an email sequence that the people get more excited or see the nuances, get nurtured through information? How many other opportunities does that product have? I think this is something. May I name brands who do it good. It's not my
Absolutely.
client.
Yeah,
I would
absolutely.
love to
Let's
work with
share
them,
it.
but AG1 is doing a perfect after-sales service in terms of once I purchased it, the product is so-so. I'm not a big fan of the product, but the marketing efforts they do is perfectly streamlined. Once you buy it, you get reminded, look, all those celebrity athletes are using it as well. You are now also someone, look, it's perfect for your gut feeling. After, I think, 2 weeks, I got the email that, hey, look, don't you feel it too, that it's good for your gut? Like after the first month, I already had 3-4 emails that taught me how good the product is. That's why I was a subscriber. Even though I didn't like the product so much, I still subscribed for more than 1 year and took it because I said, so what? It's beneficial, at least for my gut feeling. I don't know, it's good for my gut health, but at least for the feeling, it's good. It serves me and it's not harming me. So why shouldn't I be a subscriber? And they do it perfectly fine. And right now, I've increased for nearly all our contracts the setup fee because I want to make sure that we put the emphasis that everything is consistent within the brand values and is serving somehow that the clients, doesn't matter if B2C or B2B, is getting the information at the right time when it's needed to remind them. Did you know that our insurance policy serves also in these cases? After a certain amount of time, oh, you are lucky, you didn't need it. But just remember, if something happens, then we got you covered, just like we got Sam Smith covered or whatsoever. So it needs to be streamlined, and it's not only numbers. You mentioned before it's a lot of science. It's still a piece of art, but not in the sense of many art students think marketing is. Art and design are totally different thing. Art is without purpose, design is with purpose. So you need just to, as a marketing manager, you need to learn how to put the briefing perfectly so that the purpose of the designer, that he gets the purpose, so he understands it. And also, even though we love to see numbers and set the right KPIs, in our agency, we put a lot of effort also to respect cultures. Doesn't matter, is it the platform? Is it the subgenre? Is it within your target group? The different avatars you've set up for the brand have totally different lifestyles, usually, and you need to respect all of them. Once you learn that it's all about at least respecting them, and then try to build the emotional connection, it's way easier than the other way around. Because if you just try to feed them with some laughter because your content is funny or whatsoever, it doesn't necessarily mean that you respect them and their lifestyle. And it's more and more important in Western countries for each individual to feel respected.
Yeah, I was going to ask actually your view, Mirage, on the word personalization, because I think this is the perfect time to introduce it. If I had to have one of maybe a small number of predictions for 2025 in marketing, I would say personalization. Because of the emergence of AI, CRM systems have matured to the level now where actually, if we choose to invest our attention into them and obviously plot out, as you say, that end-to-end experience for a customer, we can properly start to personalize it. I think your example there of a product that you're not particularly taken with, but actually the marketing is just so good, and I'm guessing personalized, that you continue to subscribe. Would you say that personalization is going to be one of the hot topics in 2025?
For me, it was a topic already in 2024. That's why I didn't see it but now in 2025, each brand needs to put a lot of more emphasis on it and put it like among the top 3 priorities for the next year. And as you mentioned, it's definitely way easier through AI, and also the personalization within all touch points is so much easier. And I think as a brand, if you are among the first in the sphere of each of your clients doing it perfectly fine, you will be they will remember you. They will remember you and become a more loyal client for you.
And that's, I think, there, everybody listening to this, if you're making notes and listening to what Merag is saying, I think there's our number one, that makes the top three list, is that this is going to be a differentiator for you. So personalization, which we have seen this year, we both reckon then that this is going to be maybe in our top three. It's right near the top of the list anyway. So start to think about how you can actually do that. So that's great. So we've got one on our little list of things that we're going to be counting on. I mean, we've got to go to the two letters that everybody, not only in marketing but in business, is talking about right now: AI. And it could be Apple Intelligence, but I think it's probably more like artificial intelligence that stands for. How are you seeing that play out with your clients? And you've obviously got roots into obviously Silicon Valley, and you talk to a lot of people. There's a little bit of gossip behind the scenes, I'm guessing here. What kind of things are you seeing that may well become really significant for all of us marketers in 2025?
The agency world is becoming more of a group or a team of freelancers. We got to admit this one. So the consistency of the brand voice and values would be way more challenging without the intro of AI. So we can let now great talents work with us from anywhere in the world, in whatever lifestyle they would love to live in. And at the same time, the consistency in the brand value and voice can be always regulated and adjusted through AI. So this is the minimum thing that every small business and SMB should invest into, that they develop a unique brand voice and put it into an AI in what form whatsoever, so that at least everyone who is working with you, and it is becoming more and more relevant to work with very specialized agencies and specialized freelancers, so that if they serve you, that it will at least become more and more part of your brand voice.
This is interesting, Mirage, because I think a lot of people are thinking of AI and just positioning AI as being something that will create content and will, clip videos into shorts and all of those kinds of things. But actually, what you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, is that let's start internally first. Let's make sure that using AI, we have a consistency. So the brand guidelines are up to date. The way that we're going to use AI for maybe answering emails or giving customer support is all consistent. So no matter who you are in the business, and external third parties who support us, agencies, partners, etc., maybe resellers, I don't know, all of those people are operating using AI, but in a consistent way. Is that what we're saying here as a focus?
Yes, you've summarized it perfectly. So this is the first thing. First, do it internally, because it's becoming more and more complex. Like AI, marketing teams, marketing agencies are not like they used to just 4 years ago. So after COVID, everything got split up. People have enjoyed working from another country. You can source talents globally. Yes, specialization has also developed that thing, that we now have copywriters for personal brands for LinkedIn in the pharma industry. And if you're in the pharma industry, you should work with that person. But the danger is right now that everyone in the pharma industry with a personal brand on LinkedIn may sound nearly the same, because it's only one or two writers who are very good at it in the German language. So you still can get the most out of it for your brand if you have an AI that at least transforms his or her work to your brand's work. You can't develop someone being such a good copywriter in-house if there's someone doing it for 7 years already, because it's way better for that person to update his work, try out new things, you can't have it unless you have, or you are already Pfizer or Roche or whoever. But if you're just a small pharma company, it's way better to operate with that person, but it's not individual enough to your brand. So you at least have that AI, because otherwise you would need to hire someone else again in-house to adjust all those copies, and you don't need it.
This is really interesting stuff, because I think what it's doing is it's kind of giving us a focus on, yeah, some of the practical things to do. I think a lot of us have got swept along. I know I have, with the whole thing about, wow, look at the quality of this image, or look, I can put this text prompt in and I get an incredible video. I mean, there's the hype, the media and the AI hype behind what's possible. And, that's not going to go away. We get very excited by that because it is so clever. And just the quality over the last 12 months has been incredible with that. But I think what you're describing here, Merag, and this is really interesting, and I would say this is probably number 2 on our list of predictions for 2025 by the sounds of it, is that if we can use AI for consistency within our brands and within our content and creation and operations, that is something that is, again, going to give us competitive advantage, whilst the competition are going all off and sounding the same because they're all using ChatGPT or derivative of it. And just by its nature, it's going to produce the same thing for everybody. Whereas actually, if we focus the AI on our own brand, our own tone of voice and style, then that enables us then to differentiate and stand out. I love that. That's really good.
And also you respect the cultures, because now you can take a trend that is working perfectly on TikTok. Usually it took a larger company to decide if they do that trend or not. 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, but we need to be fast because that trend is gone until you have the marketing meeting. To be brand consistent, you can just ask your own AI then, how can that trend serve our brand without being inconsistent to our values, or our stakeholders, influencers that we're gonna work with in the short period of time. Maybe they don't like that trend, or that person who developed that trend is not so good working together with that influencer. So you can put this all together, and you don't need to have that in the back of your mind, because there are so many nuances and yes, so many factors you have to keep in mind, and you just can't put it into your second brain and concentrate on what's really important.
And one of the other things that kind of, I guess, leads on from that is how some of us are now using, in fact, many of us now starting to use AI for search. So obviously within Google, obviously Gemini is now coming through in a lot of the search results that we're seeing. Even if we're searching within google.com, for example, you get a Gemini search result at the top. So it gives a very clear sign at the end of 2024 here of Google's intentions into next year, that Gemini is going to be something really to embrace. What is your view, Merag, on how we are beginning to search, both as a business, but maybe as a consumer as well, using AI? Because obviously there's voice search there, which again is a whole new thing. Do you think in 2025 those things are going to mature, or do you think it's still very, very early days for mass adoption?
I'm still mostly operating in Germany, even though that I cooperate with other agencies all over the world. Luckily, German is a late adopter in tech, so many features come here later. But outside of Germany or other late adopting language areas, especially English, for English-speaking countries, SEO is dead. It's not, for most consumer topics, it's dead, because first of all, consumers did their research within the platform. So when they see your ad, they are going your ad on Instagram, they are going to put it in the search bar. What do other people think of that product on Instagram? The same And even more extreme, it's on TikTok. So if you had a question about a certain product, you saw it on TikTok, then you put it into the TikTok bar, especially Gen Z. I think it was 9 months, no, it's nearly 1 year ago when TikTok surpassed Google for the Gen Z as the number one search engine. And right now with AI, I would say TikTok is first, ChatGPT is second, and Perplexity is coming. Especially with the shopping feature of Perplexity Pro. I don't know if you tried it out. For my basic podcast setup, I've just said I don't want to start with my own podcast, but I want to respect the host who got me invited. So give me professional equipment that is first mobile and secondly cost effective, because I want to have good things, but I don't want to waste 2,000 euro for something that I don't know how long period of time I would do that regularly. And that got me all the links.
It's so powerful, isn't it? And I think with this whole thing about live shopping, social shopping, and now I think what you're describing here is AI shopping. There's an interesting one. I hadn't put that one into the mix. We've got to realize that, yeah, this trend towards in the moment, and you talked about it a little bit earlier, the actual buying cycle for most brands, for most kinds of products and services is shrinking beyond belief. If you think kind of 5-10 years ago, we would take a long time to consider things. We're buying them just like that now at the click of the fingers. So that's an interesting one. I'd not linked in to putting AI shopping actually into those mix of social shopping and live shopping. But it just makes total sense, doesn't it? Because as you mentioned earlier, a lot of these things, they feel like they're blending together. And it's almost like if any brand, there are a number of very, very large brands who could do this, and one in particular that starts with G, if they wanted to bring it all together into the one platform, they would solve everything that, in those three trends would all come together in this one solution. So as marketers, we've got to really take this seriously, haven't we?
100%. For example, the insurance companies that I work with in Germany, it was very easy for me to get a campaign very successful. The reason is I just planned an idea, a question, or an unsolved problem. That was my main concern, because I knew most of the people, especially if it's in the B2B B2B insurance area, the people won't sign a contract with you immediately, but they're gonna Google. So my part was also, before we start the campaign, we need to set up the whole search engine optimization first. You need to be ranked you need to be mentioned on your websites, on your blog, or third-party websites at least 4 times out of the 10 times, so that it will always lead back to you. Once you have initially put that seed of the idea, that they get reminded, oh, we need to invest in this. Oh, we didn't know that we need to cover this already as an SMB. And then they Google it, and then they feel like it was their decision. So this was how we set up the whole idea of multi-channel marketing, and also that we are in control of the touch points. Luckily, we can still do that in Germany, because the AI is not as good in German language as it is in other languages. But I couldn't imagine to get these updates so fast as in the English language, because then we would need to do AI optimization. How can we make sure that our client comes up in the answer of ChatGPT, in the answers of Perplexity? That is, this is needs a little more effort, but the bad thing about it is it's a little out of your control. Like SEO was pretty predictable. SEO was pretty predictable with Google, but with AI, it's not 100% working, at least not for us. We are pretty good with AI optimization, but not as that we could tell our clients, maybe because it's still new, we lack of the experience, but we can't tell our clients within 3 months you will be the number one answer. On Google, we can. On Google, we can tell our German clients in 3 months, you will be mentioned at least 4 times within the top 10 results.
It's exciting though, isn't it? I mean, it comes all the way back round to what is exciting us. And I can just tell by the way that you're talking and smiling and the energy that's coming through is that you can't wait for the AI stuff to really start to mature, because then you can talk to your clients about those results and actually start to plan and be strategic about it. So I think maybe there's another thing there that comes into our mix of predictions for next year, is that this whole idea about just getting started, just educating yourself and becoming aware of what is coming. It might not mature in many markets next year, but there's a good opportunity, if you're watching it, that you can start to optimize for AI search, which inevitably is here. You know, you're doing it, I'm doing it. I'm sure many people listening to this are now starting to do it as well, because it is just so convenient. So therefore, we have to then put ourselves in the shoes of our customers and say, well, when they start to do it, how easily can we be found? As far as I understand it, it is more about conversational language that we use when we communicate. So if we're actually putting content into, you know, our websites and into socials, if we're doing it in a conversational style, that is what AI currently is rating on. So, you know, whilst we haven't seen any kind of evidence or real proof of that, I think generally people are saying the more conversational your content, the better you're probably likely to be protected. But we'll see, I guess, going forward. It's exciting times. Do you think, Merag, we've got our big three? We talked personalization, we've talked starting with your internal use of AI and actually aligning everybody with your brand guidelines. And then we've talked there about search using AI and actually, you know, really sort of understanding where that's going. Do you think those are our big three for 2025? Or is there something else we've missed?
Yes, there is something that came up with TikTok that I haven't seen somewhere else before. And I had realized just 3 months ago that many people are not aware of it. TikTok is a sort of lottery. You put a piece of content out with no followers, and it can hit or it can't be that it's a flop. But who said that you can just buy one ticket? You can mass produce content on many channels and distribute it then. And I'm pretty sure whoever, it doesn't matter in what sphere you're working, if you try to create a system of different formats, of different brand voices, this will make you successful. This will make the difference between you and your competitors. Let me put it into an example. So if you are a small company, why do you have only one TikTok channel? You should have one corporate channel. What about the founder's channel? He or she is telling everything from the founder's perspective, the founder's story, all the values, because many people are now aware of it. Show me the company, I can tell you what how the founder is, and the other way around. It nearly always works that way. And then what is the era after UGC, user-generated content, is employee-generated content. Not only LinkedIn is a form of it, but you can have also employees. I mean, we are hiring more and more Gen Z professionals who grew up with creating short form content, and they are very experienced with that. Give them some freedom. Let them also create content. Give them some profit if they hit some KPI targets. They will love it. And then you have, so these are the channels you already could have as a company, and you should build them, because then you have every day, not buying one lottery ticket, you have 3, 4, and everyone serves you in a different way. EGC is not only there to get more clients, but also get more talent. Because a founder is not reflecting how the corporate culture is within the teams, but EGC does, for example. And in a B2B era, in a B2B space, this EGC serves also to get more clients. Then also, if you also have the time to have a podcast, then you have another channel for the highlights. So you should have several channels serving you, at least on TikTok, and whatever works fine should be also then copied to Instagram, YouTube, etc. So this is something where I still see a very good opportunity for most companies. Doesn't matter B2C, B2B, and it's not a matter of budget, it's a matter of the effort. And if you distribute it on many among your team members, then it works also for a smaller business with only 10 to 10 to 20 people, because then it's distributed equally. And luckily, here comes also the help of AI. There are so many tools where you just talk into the camera and they can just do the cutting, cut out all the stops, edit the subtitles, and then the idea of the video is way more important than the editing skills. And for that, it's efficient and effective enough to have those AI tools.
Wow, that is such powerful stuff. And I think, we've gone in this conversation, Merag, haven't we, from big strategic things for next year down to those little details where you're almost redefining multi-channel marketing by calling it MCMD, multi-channel marketing distribution, by saying it isn't just about the number of channels, it's about within channel, how you distribute through multiple accounts. And I just think that, again, is just really, really golden. It really is. And again, this is the Michelin-star kind of Michelin-star marketing. Michelin should do a star rating for marketers, shouldn't they? I think you would definitely be pushing at least 1 star, Merag. This is great stuff. If somebody wants to keep in contact with you, if they want to connect with you, because I know you do quite a regular kind of update. I think it's on Instagram, isn't it? How do they do that?
It's IMMERAG. I am Merag. You can find me with that nickname on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. And I'm distributing content regularly about whatever matters within my clients. I think of an abstracted way that could serve SMB as well. This is what I'm sharing. And in the future, I would love also to share it more in detail, so that if there are among your listeners someone who doesn't necessarily have the budget, but would love to get all these ideas installed in their marketing system, I would do so, but then I would like to distribute it. So then we would have a more actionable content.
And I think that will serve everybody, because then the spin-off benefit there is that we all benefit from listening not only to the ideas but seeing them in practice. And I think, for all of us, and that's what I've loved about this conversation, and thank you, Merag, because it's been both planful, but also it's about the execution, because it's all very well somebody listening to this and thinking, yeah, guys, yeah, I get it, and then just going back and doing the same thing that they've done this year. This is about action, isn't it? And people have to take action to make this real. So that's been really inspirational. Merag Shahzad, thank you so much for your time today, and for sharing your predictions and our predictions, because we've sort of played them around with them, sort of 100%. Just to double check that we're doing the right thing. But really, really appreciate your time, and have a great Christmas and a wonderful New Year.
I really appreciate the chance. I know what big podcast that is, and I'm kind of a newbie. So Neil, thanks very much, and I wish you lovely Christmas and Happy New Year.